obviously there is a lot happening on the preview server, so let's just take a little bit of an overview over it. Okay, so obviously the elephant in the room are the big changes that happen to preview. Obviously, these are your stat changes and the companion changes, removal of bonding runestones, and all of that good stuff. Now, it's hard to know where to start, but I'm going to tell you, I spent hours yesterday going through the stats. I maxed a whole bunch of companions up to mythic. Like, it's hard to tell the difference compared to the rare ones, which are throwing me off a little bit, but I maxed a whole bunch. I made sure I had 100% bolster in every category so I could test out a few companions. Obviously not all of them because, y'all, I'm not that rich. Okay, I'm kind of poor. I'm poor like you, okay? But yeah, so I spent a lot of time doing that. I also ran a couple dungeons solo just to compare. I went about and I did some of my dailies. I did some of the heroic encounters in the stronghold, including the harder ones like No Sympathy. And overall, it's not that bad. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, but you're a maxed character, and yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm a little bit of a maxed character. But I'm not like super end game like some people who have like the lion gear, not the lion gear, the lion guard weapons or the T3 gear. Like, I don't have any of that stuff. You know, I stopped farming some time ago because I got tired of the grind, right? Now I just play for my guild and collecting stuff basically. So I'm not quite as end game as many presume or seem to think I am. So with that said, combat was pretty much as expected. It obviously took a lot longer in the epic dungeons, but I think that's part of the goal, is to make things a little more even and not so much that you can just melt through it. A lot of people, including myself, kind of agree that you know, if you progress and you build all your stuff, you should in technicality be able to melt through most of the content and not be scaled down to the strength of that content. But on the other hand, there's a lot of people who, you know, they still want to have that challenge when they enter content. So it's a give or take, and obviously Cryptic decided to lean towards those who would prefer a challenge. I guess, I don't know if that's the majority, if that's what their spreadsheets tell them. I couldn't tell you, I don't work for Cryptic. So taking a look now at the stat sheet, basically you'll see that there's a lot of differences that have happened. And you know what? It's okay. Starting off as our item level, it's more or less calculated the same way. It's weird because I have so much item level, but when I look at things like my gear, my rings, my weapons, boons don't seem to give any more item level. Companions, mounts, for some reason I went from being like 35k to like almost 49k, and I don't even have max skill boons, so don't ask me what's up with that. A lot of stuff is still bugged, by the way. So where was I again? Right, item level. So it's calculated somehow, and your total item level basically calculates to your damage and your stats. Now, how ratings work is everything still caps at 90%. And I've noticed a lot of other people kind of not explaining this the best way. So your stats cap at 90%. However, there's your rating contribution and your other contributions, such as your ability scores and your companions, maybe your mount bonuses, whatever it may be. We look at our companions quickly. You'll see most of them give like 3.8% accuracy, 7.5% power. And these are percents. These percents get added directly to the total, not to your rating. So you can have 50%, or not 50%. You can have, what's the best way to put it? So basically, your ratings cannot exceed your item level. the more item level you have, the more rating you can build to put towards your total percentage. So the goal is to have the highest item level you can, essentially. Now, with different items and obviously mixing and matching, which is going to take weeks to do, not hours, not days, weeks to test it all out again. You may not need to have like the highest item level possible in order to reach your percentages, but overall, all the stats seem to currently cap at 90,000. Now, the problem that a lot of people are facing is it's easy to get your ratings up to where they need to be, but you can see once they turn orange, you're over your item level and you have extra points added to it that literally are having no effect for you. So they're not adding to your percentage anymore, which is fine, but when you start to try and calculate buffs, like you can see in my rating for power anyways, I keep it down, but with the buffs that I'm getting just from my companion attacking the dummies in the stronghold alone, it's going up occasionally, and that's not even with me building up my own powers from attacking, right? So the fact that even the buffs don't go over the limit, it's going to be really, really hard to calculate this. Now, we look at percentages and whatnot, our accuracy. Well, we have our accuracy up, but we're nowhere near the cap. I'm 30% away from the cap. It's going to be difficult to max that percentage. Now, I know part of the goal is to not have it so that players can cap all their stats. With this expansion or this module, this fix, whatever you want to call it, I believe the goal is to have to force people into prioritizing stats over others and not being able to max them out. However, there's still going to be that issue of min maxing, trying to find the best DPS build, the cookie cutter build that everyone's going to want, because for some reason everyone just wants to be the highest DPS all the time, and there's not a lot of flexibility or viability for custom builds of all different types. Even the rogue, if you look at Whisper Knife, it's far, far, far inferior compared to the assassin. So if someone wanted to play a Whisper Knife, essentially they wouldn't be able to. And that's, that takes away from a lot of creativity and fun that a player could have, that a player could have when playing the game, right? So I don't know, but that's more or less the stats in a nutshell. Your stats can only contribute, they only contribute to 50% of your ratings per se. So you can't actually like exceed like 50%. So there's no point in having an item level over 50k. I'm just going to throw that out there now. And yeah, the rest of your caps you need to somehow get from other contributions. Whatever those contributions may be, I don't quite follow, but they're there. Now, if we take a look at some of the artifacts, I mean, Trobriand's ring, it's not giving me great. Stuffed flowers, it's okay. Arcturia's music box, it's okay. Hallister's is really good, but unfortunately, my Hallister's is on my cleric, not on my rogue, so I can't actually show you that right now. Weapons no longer have a base damage, which kind of sucks because now it's basically just purely based on your set. Kind of like your neck and belt, how you buy it pretty much strictly for the set bonus. That's basically how weapons are going to be, which means even lower tier weapons that have like lower item level technically may be better to have based on the set. Which actually brings me to another point. Now, I'm no Rainer, I'm no Jane, okay? I'll have you know, I passed grade 9 math with 1% away from failing, okay? I'm not a fancy math person. I'll leave all that to Rainer and Jane and any other legit theory crafters for Neverwinter. That's what they do best. I'll leave it to them. I was doing some testing though, just looking at the ebony stained shirt and the infernal forged shirt. Ebony Stained has significantly lower item level, but it gives 3% damage when your stamina is over 75%. Infernal Forged has a pretty crappy equip bonus, but it has higher item level. And I was just testing somewhat briefly, maybe like I spent like maybe a half hour on it, so not a ton of time. And unfortunately, it seems like you deal more damage by having the higher item level piece, which makes no sense because now there's absolutely no point to the equip bonuses. You know what I mean? So, it's really iffy. It's really, really questionable on this whole thing, but it's still broken. I'm gonna say that now. It's definitely, there's still things that are definitely not working as intended. Maybe some of the internal calculators and whatnot aren't totally working as accurately as they wish. I don't know. But I wouldn't make any sudden purchases or changes or adjustments yet on your live character, whether you're on console or you're on PC. Wait until the changes have been finalized and they say, hey, this is the day that it's coming to the live server. Then maybe consider it. You know, if you have excess AD, then fine, invest in what you want. But if you're, you know, an average player and you're just scraping by like I am, essentially, don't make any big investments or changes or anything like that, because everything is bound to change. And I think the reason they put it on preview this early is to save them time down the road, get our feedback, find out what needs to be adjusted, and before they finalize it on their end, they can finalize it with the feedback we've given instead of finalizing it and then having to go back and finalize it again because we don't like something or just not doing it at all. So I think that's why they put it on preview early, but that's just speculation. I couldn't tell you. So yeah, if anyone out there is like recommending you to like, you know, make a specific build, work towards something that's now going to be best in slot, don't save yourself a headache and don't follow it because it's still way, way, way too early. I mean, this isn't going to hit live until I'd say maybe 3 months from now, 2-3 months. That's when I would expect it to hit live. So much can change in that time. So that's my piece of advice. Now, if we move over to, I guess, just companions next, you'll see there's no bondings anymore. You just have your equipment per se. You can see that I did take out my empowered runestones because I was overcapping crit, or not crit, power anyways. So why would I keep those in there? So, you know, obviously, like I said, don't make any investments, but just keep in mind about that. If like you're thinking about selling some right now or something, maybe hold on to them, but just food for thought. So I have my lovely companion gear here, and I don't have the best companion set up right now because I was still testing a lot of things. Deep Crow seems to be a really good one. The green slime was also a good one, but I don't own that because y'all, I'm kind of poor. I have lots of companions, but I haven't actually tested them. Only the ones that are mythic I took the time to test. So yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't think we're gonna need a lot of percent powers. Percent damage could be nice, but I have a feeling like a lot of people are going to be using the percents of the stats they need. So like I said, like the accuracy, critical chance, things like that. And they're going to be using that to up their stats. I have a feeling too that this is going to be kind of like the old days. Anyone from like pre-module 6, you'll remember that, you know, capping crit was the way to go. Even if your crit was higher than your power, that was the way to deal the most damage, right? So everyone would cap their crit and their critical severity, and they would ignore their other stats, like not ignore, but somewhat ignore like armor pen and things like that. So I think it's going to come down to whatever stat is superior. That's the one people are going to say, oh, just max this one and the other ones just get as high as you can. Like, I have a feeling we're going to go back to that kind of stage, which seems weird to me because they kind of didn't want to cap that, but I don't know. Don't ask me. So there's that. Nothing really changed with mounts. Obviously, the stats don't give quite as much anymore, which give or take as you will. But yeah, now when it comes to scaling, because I know a lot of people are going to have questions about that, the item level requirements still kind of seem to be the same. But if we enter, let's go Malabog, because I know how much fun Malabog is. Check mark, join queues, we'll wait for the map, and I'll show you what it looks like when you're scaled, just because scaling looks a lot different than probably what you're imagining. Basically, like, unlike right now when you enter a dungeon and you get scaled, more or less all your stats get reduced, right? Whereas when you now enter lower level content, such as Malabog, and you're going to be set down, you can see it turns blue, and you're technically nerfed down, but basically everything's capping at 24,000, which means everything here is going to cap at 24,000 as well. It's not really showing, I don't know if that's intentional or whatnot, but basically you're just, if I understand right, you're just going to be set down to the requirements for the dungeon instead of scaled down. It's just you're at the caps and that's it. You're not over the caps, which technically puts everyone at like the same level when they enter Malabog. Don't know how that's gonna work, but so that's kind of what it looks like for now. Like I said, this may not even be working as intended, but this does turn blue, and it does say that, you know, you are being affected, or, you know, nerfed down essentially for the content. Now let's just take a run through Malabog. Stuff is hitting hard, so I'm actually going to put bait and switch just because it's easier. Oh, can I get my hand around my mic? Maybe I can move my mic. Wait. Okay, and I don't know why, but my powers keep resetting every time I log in, so now I have to like set everything back, which is really annoying. And I don't know why I'm using Oppressive Darkness still, but I am. So let's go do a little bit of a combat test in scaled content so you can see firsthand. Obviously, this isn't meant to, how would you say, run solo, but we're gonna do it anyways. Like I said, I did manage to solo Castle Never yesterday, so there's that. But I don't know about in here, but in Castle Never, the mobs were hitting hard. Let's just, oh, they're not hitting too hard actually. Oh, I take it back. That was a pretty hard hit. So I've been using the old, you know, stun and bait kind of trick to get through content. But it's not impossible. Obviously, it's harder, but that's kind of the intent at this point, if I understand correctly. So take it as you will. But we'll just go through this first phase here just so you can kind of see. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people saying too that Trobian's ring is like really strong now. I'm not totally seeing it. Maybe I'm missing something, but yeah. So, I mean, it's not impossibly hard. It's obviously slower, like in... Oh, I'm dead. Use a scroll, because I have a bunch. You can get free trade bars from the AD vendor thing. Okay, so, I mean, the stuff still hits hard. I'm not gonna lie about that, but this is also supposed to be a 5-person dungeon, not a 1-person, so since they're talking about, you know, nerfing people, and no, well, not nerfing it, but making it so that the easier content isn't so easy anymore, I'd say goal accomplished in that area. I don't like it, but that is an intended thing, so yeah. Something I noticed too, you gain AP a lot quicker right now, which is kind of nice. But anyways, we'll just finish off this guy. That's taking forever because, I mean, I'm not going to spend all day in this dungeon. I already did yesterday. Not this dungeon, but other dungeons. So, yeah, is there anything else? Oh, you know what? Guild boons. Tons of people have been asking about guild boons. So if we open here, basically you get 300 power per level, which isn't a lot. So if you consider there's 10 levels, that's like 3,000 power. Not a lot. Armor pen was replaced with critical strike. There is still critical severity, which not calculated by percent, but rather like a hard number, like any other stat. So that kind of throws you off too. Enhancements, no good. HP is 12,000 total for rank 10, I think. Actually, shouldn't I? No. Guild stronghold. Where is the stable? Okay. Oh, this is still showing the old values, I think. Yeah, it is. So this hasn't been updated yet, so don't follow that, actually. Never mind, we'll stick with this and hope my math isn't that bad. Hopefully Rainer doesn't watch this and laugh at my terrible math. But, yeah, mount speed seems to be the same. Incoming heal, defense, awareness, hit points, XP is pretty much the same. You do also get 80 combined rating for every boon, which is kind of nice. But still, it makes guild boons a lot less overpowered and a lot less stronger, which in a sense is okay. Because I know a lot of people were complaining about, you know, it's really hard to start a guild in these days because everyone just wants to go to the max boons because they're already there. All of that. So, I mean, there's that. Oh, one last thing. See, I'm remembering all these things. Something I noticed, I haven't actually tested it out yet, but I've noticed that on Path of the Fallen it says until 7 p.m. December 31st, try this campaign regardless of your item level. Now that's a weird statement for there to be, just because if you look at the other ones, it has recommended item levels. Now these ones don't, but some of them do. So it almost makes me wonder if, I'm sure these values are going to be adjusted, obviously, but it makes me wonder if they're going to make it so you have to have a certain item level before starting a new campaign. Because a lot of people hop into these end campaigns like Path of the Fallen, Descent into Avernus, and they can't kill stuff because they're still new players, which, okay, like even I recommend players to an extent to try these out, you know, because there is group content you can do. But overall, it does, I don't want to say it kills the experience, but it hurts the experience of a new player. So, yeah, I don't know. It reminds me, in a video I did just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, someone's like, oh, why do you keep saying I don't know? It's just, I don't know what else to say in the meantime. So instead of just silence, I say I don't know. Come on. And I think I only said it like twice in the whole video of that video. Don't remember what video it was, but some people, gotta tell you. Anyways, so I haven't actually put that to the test, but if anyone wants to test it out, let me know. I'll pin your comment to the top. But yeah, I don't really have much to add aside from that. Definitely an overhaul. Definitely a lot of different things to consider, to look at. And yeah, there's a lot happening. And I think, I don't want to say Cryptic is biting off more than they can chew, but I think this is a lot of changes to do at once, and change already makes people really nervous and scared of it, and I don't think this in particular is helping that at all. So take it as you will. I know a lot of people are iffy about it, but it's still very fresh, it's still very new, and I would encourage people to just wait and see what the final product is of all of this, because obviously this isn't the final product. So, and obviously it's not all working as intended, so Just wait. I understand people's frustration. I'm a little frustrated too. I've been playing since 2013. I've seen the mod 6, the mod 16, I've seen all the nasty changes go through the game, and everyone moves on eventually. Some people quit, some people come back. So it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. And yeah, it does get tiring relearning the game. But all in all, we'll see. I don't really have much of an opinion at this point because it's still too early to form an opinion, honestly. So yeah, just wait it out. Don't make any big investments or changes yet for your character, and have a good one. I gotta go. Otherwise, I would do like a live stream and everything. I think Rachel did like a Q&A live stream earlier today or something. I would do something similar, but nah, I'm not for that live streaming life. So see ya. Have a good one, and don't forget to subscribe. Because I'm telling you, a lot of you folks don't. I can see the statistics, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Anyways, ciao for now.